Hey guys, this is Evan with Summers Wellness, and as I am every week, I am joined by Dana from Whole Health Dana. We also have the pleasure of having Jennifer here, my other half, joining us tonight. This is our weekly essential oils class. So this week we're going to be tackling essential oils myths. So every week we do a class at the same time, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern. We always have a different topic each week, and then once we go through that topic, we open it up for an open Q&A. It can be anything pertaining to essential oils, how they benefit you, how they work. Even if you choose, we can even go through and discuss a brand analysis, whatever you like. These are recorded, so if you prefer not to have yourself shown on video on the recording, in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see a box that says Stop Video. If you click on that, then you'll just show up as a silhouette on the screen. Also, just to the left of that is your mute button. So you can mute yourself, you can unmute yourself. If it gets too noisy, I'll just go through and mute everybody. But today we are going to be talking about essential oil myths. We're going to break down some of the exaggerations pertaining to the world of essential oils and get to the truth behind some of those. If you have any questions during the presentation, down towards the bottom center of your screen, you'll see the little chat box. If you click on that, that'll open a chat window and you can type your questions right into there. And when we're done with the presentation, we will happily go through those questions first. And if you've got other questions that you want to present at the end, we will open it for a Q&A at that time. So with that, let's see. You guys should be able to see that. All right, so this is today's topic, essential oil, myth understandings, myth communications, and myth theories. I can tell you, Dana loves it when I do this particular training because she loves watching me get really frustrated about this industry and the amount of misinformation that's out there. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about where do some of these myths start. Why the confusion? What do we actually believe about these myths? Who's to blame? And I'm not really big on pointing fingers, and I'll explain that a little bit more as we go forward. And ultimately, how do we fix this? How do we break away from these myths that seem to permeate the industry so fluidly? All right, so the first one, and we're going to roll right through these. The myth that essential oils have been used for thousands of years, even dating back to the ancient Chinese, Romans, and Egyptians. They were even discovered in King Tut's tomb. The other one that, and I didn't add this, but the myth that seems to be perpetuated quite frequently that essential oils were even used in Jesus's time. While oils themselves have been used, they are not essential oils the way we know them, to be today. Essential oils require a distillation process or a cold pressing in regards to citrus oils, but that's a completely different method to infusing or getting the oil from the plants. So now we steam distill, we get a very, very high concentration of essential oils. They are nowhere near the level, they're a lot more potent than the oils ever were in the past. So when you start looking back at the history of oils, the oils that are being referenced in this myth are actually infused. They're not distilled. You're not going to get the high concentration of oils. Typically you would take plant material and you would put them in clay pots with animal fats, and you would just leave them out in the sun for that same plant material to permeate into those fats in order to create an infused oil. You could actually do this right now. You could buy a bottle of olive oil. You could take fresh lavender. You could take fresh mint. You could take other fresh herbs and shove them in the bottle and just seal up the bottle and let it sit for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. And you will have made your own infused oil. That's the exact same thing that would have been used in the old days. So the first steam distillation machine was attributed to a Persian scientist in the 11th century. King Tut's reign was about 2,300 years before that. So there was no way that a steam distillation of an essential oil could have been done then. So it's a myth. I can understand where it's based in a level of fact, and I believe that the core of this is right. People are trying to express how long and rich a history oils have, but to claim them as essential oils is kind of a misnomer. And yet it could be a little bit of splitting hairs, but for somebody like me who's a bit of a geek on facts, it's just one of those myths that irk me. All right, next one. If a company claims for external use only or not for internal use, it indicates that the oil is of inferior quality or somehow impure. This is something that you often hear quite a bit from people who are in the oil industry, who get paid by representing an essential oil multi-level marketing company. And oftentimes it's because their company will indicate on the bottle whether an oil is safe for internal use or not. And therefore, they're going to tell you that if another company presents their oils as not for internal use, it means they're not a pure oil. The fact is, most companies, even the independents that produce a very good, high-quality essential oil, will put this terminology on their bottle to protect themselves in an overly litigious society. We have a society that likes to sue for everything. So just because somebody uses an essential oil improperly, and then they decide that they're going to sue the manufacturer for a big payday, they're trying to protect themselves by putting this on the bottle. So you can't use that terminology just to determine the purity of a company's essential oils. And you see what I've got there on the bottom. Even the purest essential oils in the world will likely cause internal damage if you drink a whole bottle. If you use your oils according to a safe measure, you should have virtually no issue with internal use of your oils, provided you follow proper safety protocols. All right, next one. Because they're created by nature, pure essential oils are safe to ingest. See, I bundled these together. Well, I guess the best correlation I can throw at you in regards to created by nature, arsenic is created by nature. I don't know a lot of people who are immediately going to rush to ingest arsenic. Poison ivy is created by nature, but we're not going to roll around in it strictly because it's created by nature. There has to be a level of safety that you follow. There has to be a level of respect that you have for the potency and purity of the essential oils that you're using before you ever consider ingesting essential oils. I caution against it all the time. In fact, Dana and I kind of joke about it because I know she has even cut down on the amount of the oil that she has personally taken internally after she and I have talked about some of the safety protocols surrounding essential oils. So my question that I ask everybody, because when I do Periscope broadcasts, every single day somebody asks me if they can use that oil internally. My first question always is why? Why do you want to? So there are questions that come up surrounding that, and that's a whole nother broadcast. In fact, there's a replay on the Essential Oils Education page on Facebook. There's a replay of our entire training on internal use of oils. And if you want to learn more, I suggest you watch that replay. It's a really, really great date that we had and a lot of great internal information. All right, this one, if you've just recently eaten, you're going to want to turn away after this. Clary sage is used as a cleanser for the eyes. It can also be used to clear eyesight due to foggy vision or eye injury. Clary sage can also be used to brighten the eyes and improve vision. I'm just going to skip to, I think, the reason why this has come out as a myth. The name clary may derive from the words clear eye. And when you go back to the herbalists in the 17th century, they used to use the seeds of the clary sage plant to create a tincture that you would use in the eyes to help remove parasites or to help with infection. But clary sage essential oil is not to be used in the eyes. In fact, you should not use any essential oils in your eyes because you don't want that to happen. and I know, like I said, I hope you didn't just eat. But it is a striking indication of something that can occur due to misuse of an essential oil. All right, one of my favorites. Company blank is the only one in the world who sells 100% pure therapeutic essential oils. This is just wrong. I'm sorry, you guys know that me and Dana are both doTERRA reps. We love doTERRA's oils. We also have freely explored and experimented with other companies. And quite honestly, there are some really great upstanding companies in the world of essential oils who sell 100% pure therapeutic grade essential oils. There is no way I could ever believe somebody who tells me that the company they represent is the only one that sells pure oils, that their company has sourced the best oils on the planet and nobody else can get them. We're talking about a natural product. The world is a really big place. And here's one of the things that I will reference. According to a conversation with Dr. Pappas, and this comes from his website, but I saw a conversation with him where he talked about Steven Seagal. Yes, the actor Steven Seagal. He had a ranch. I believe it was between Vegas and LA. And on that ranch, he planted helichrysum. And from a chemical standpoint, from the testing that Dr. Pappas did on the helichrysum that Steven Seagal had planted on his property, it wasn't helichrysum, it was vetiver. From the vetiver that he had planted on his property, he had the purest, highest potency, best quality vetiver that Dr. Pappas had ever tested outside of Vegas. Now, vetiver grows wild in places like the Bahamas and Dominican Republic, but this was in Vegas. This is outside of Vegas, and it was prior to this test that Dr. Pappas had done. He had never seen a better quality vetiver. So it just goes to show that there are likely sources of plant material around the world that are still to this day untapped, that could be even more pure than what's on the market today. So don't allow yourself to be suckered into the idea that only one company has access to the best product in the world. That changes. Beyond that, when we talk about purity, that's only one factor in the quality of an essential oil. There's a whole class that we did on sourcing and on distillation that goes deeper into this subject. But every step of the production line, from the time the plant material is seeded in the ground until it's sealed in the bottle, every time there's another set of hands that gets involved in that process, there's an opportunity to adulterate or alter or somehow render impure that particular bottle of oil. Not only that, but you could still have a 100% pure oil, but if it wasn't left in the ground long enough, if the harvest was done early, if it wasn't distilled for the right amount of time at the right temperature, you may not get the full therapeutic benefit of the oils. So there's a lot of factors that get involved with that. All right, so let's continue along that line. There's no such thing as therapeutic grade essential oils. Well, yes and no. On this particular case, this is a half-truth. There is therapeutic grade oils. However, because there's no governing body and there is no independent governing body that will identify a set of standards for everyone to abide by, every manufacturing company, every company that sells their oils is left to police themselves, so to speak, in what they feel therapeutic means to them. So some companies may represent their oils as therapeutic, others may represent it as medicinal. There's all kinds of different plays on the term. But there is no company that is in place that's going to kind of set the bar. So every company sets their own bar. And as long as they maintain their standards consistently across multiple years, multiple batches, so you get the same high quality product every time you place an order, it's kind of a myth that, like I said, it's kind of a half-truth. Next one. This drives me nuts. If you use an essential oil on your skin and it causes a rash, a burn, or another reaction, it's just your body detoxing. I almost jumped through my computer this week because I actually saw somebody respond with this exact wording this week to somebody who talked about using frankincense and getting a rash the next day after using frankincense. This person basically told them, oh, it's okay, it's just your body detoxing. Guys, let me take a breath. Your body doesn't detox by adding things to it. Detox, by nature, is the expulsion of toxins from your system. If you apply an essential oil to your skin and your skin starts to burn or get red or causes a rash, it's your body saying, stop this. Stop this right now. Whatever you're doing, I don't like this. And it's trying to send you a signal. If you ignore that body signal and you continue to do what you're doing, you could lead yourself into a more severe chemical burn, because that's really what you're doing. I mean, if you stuck your hand in a bucket of battery acid and you felt as though your hand was burning, you wouldn't pull your hand out of the bucket and say, it's just my body detoxing. Let me put my hand back in. If you rest your hand on a hot stove and your skin starts to burn, your body's not detoxing the burn. It is burning. So you stop what you're doing. Most pure therapeutic essential oils can be used directly on the skin without dilution. That's also referred to as neat. I hear this a lot. As a doTERRA rep, I hear this quite a bit. Young Living reps, you hear this quite a bit. Even a lot of the independent companies will say this. While that's true, you can, in fact, use most essential oils directly on the skin. From a safety standpoint, it's unnecessary. From a safety standpoint, you could and you should dilute every essential oil. Create a roller bottle with, you can do 5% dilution and preserve your oils. As you increase the amount of oil that you apply to the skin, your potential for skin reactions grows higher, and you also increase the potential that you could become desensitized to the benefits of that particular essential oil. So when you hear this particular myth, think who's benefiting from the person who's from what they're telling you. If I told you, oh, it's okay, just use 5 drops of lavender and 3 drops of frankincense and 2 drops of myrrh and 2 drops of sandalwood, just go ahead and put that all on, go ahead and rub all that onto your skin all at once. You're going to use your oils a lot faster. You're going to reorder more often. If you're one of my enrollees, I'm going to ultimately make more money. But I don't want to make money on the backs of people doing something that could either be potentially unsafe or wasteful. So it's better to pre-dilute your essential oils. Even if you set up 50 roller bottles that you've pre-diluted safely, you're going to get better benefit out of it, and you'll have less chance for reaction. And that's one that I know I'm going to end up with getting some questions about. All right, this is one that I know is one of Dana's favorites. The best and safest place to apply essential oils on your body is the soles of the feet. That the soles of your feet have the largest pores on your body. All right, let's look at the soles of our feet. At the same time, you can also look at the palms of your hand. By nature, those 2 parts of the body have the thickest skin on the body. We're going to get back to that in a second. The largest pores on your body, they're actually sweat glands. They are designed to expel dirt and toxins and sweat out of your system. They are designed as an outlet port. They're not designed as an inlet. So to state that the best place to apply oils is on the soles of your feet, and to give the reason that it's because it has the largest pores of your body, is the myth. Now, there's 2 really great reasons to apply oils to the soles of your feet. Technically, I would even go 3, but 1 is kind of a 2A. First of all, if you are, let's say you're a little sensitive to the particular aroma of an oil that you're using. A lot of people, for example, patchouli, vetiver, some of the oils that may not necessarily have as appealing a scent. If you put them on the soles of your feet, the absorption rate into the body will still happen. You'll still get some of the aromatic benefit, but because it's further away from your nose, you are going to slow the amount of that strong, concentrated aroma that you smell. So that's number 1. Number 2 would be in the course of a reflexology foot massage. Every single organ, every single system of your body has a termination point on the soles of your feet. You can look at a reflexology map, and you could see where every part of your body has a termination point in the feet. So if you apply oils to the soles of your feet in conjunction with a reflexology massage, you can directly impact a particular organ or a particular body system by using your oils in that fashion. So the little addendum that I'm going to give you when I said it, that kind of a 2A, from a safety standpoint, if you're applying oils to the feet of a child, you can apply to the soles of the feet. Thicker skin will often provide a little bit more of a safety valve from applying topically. In addition, you can also cover their feet with socks, so you're less likely to have them pick up their feet and shove them in their mouth and then start licking the oil off of their feet. So that's a little like the 2A, or if you want to look at it, the 3rd reason why applying oils to the feet might be beneficial. So there you go, and there's my written answer on that as well. They're not completely ineffective, but if you're ultimately if you're applying oils topically, the idea is to get the oils into the bloodstream, right? You want to affect the largest portion of your body. The best place to do that are your pulse points. So along the wrist, base of the ears, on the throat, the same places where you ladies would apply perfume and guys where you would put cologne. It's because your veins are closest to the surface. So when you apply oil at your pulse points, the absorption right into the bloodstream is significantly increased. All right, let's see. When you don't like the smell of an essential oil, it means that your body needs that oil. This particular myth is maddening to me because it violates everything science has taught us about the human body. It violates everything we know about our sense of smell from the standpoint of survival. Quite honestly, we evolved with a sense of smell to be able to pick out dangers, to recognize fruits and vegetables and poisons, to be able to recognize and understand that if we were walking near a wild animal den, we could smell the dung from that wild animal and know that that might be an area we need to stay away from. If we smell food that's gone rotten, we recognize that. We recognize that that may be toxic. We avoid it. So this particular myth is telling you to ignore centuries of evolution. Ignore our natural body reaction of saying, you don't like this, it's not good for you, and telling you that just ignore that. Your body actually needs that oil. Your sense of smell will change. You may have an oil that you don't like the smell of today that may grow on you in the future. And I will personally reference patchouli because I've never liked the smell of patchouli. To me, it's always smelled like dirty feet. But I just got a bottle of doTERRA's patchouli. I opened it up. I smelled it. And it's like, doesn't smell quite like feet anymore to me. The smell has become much more palatable. And in doing so, you're probably more likely to use it when you like that particular aroma. So just keep that in mind when you hear this particular myth. Now, there are some oils that will, and I'll reference the emotional blends on this one. There are some oils that you may not necessarily particularly care for the blend of oils that may be designed for a specific issue you're having. But if you use them, you'll still get benefit. So keep that in mind as well. So you may not necessarily always like that particular oil, but you can usually blend it and find others that will work well with it as well. All right. Let me just say I absolutely despise this myth. The FDA allows essential oil products to only include 5% essential oil in order for it to be labeled 100% pure. Guys, first of all, the FDA, as we know, does not regulate the essential oil business. They do not regulate the industry. They don't even regulate the cosmetics industry. That's the Consumer Product Safety Commission. So the FDA, somebody claiming that the FDA will allow only 5% essential oil in order for it to be labeled 100% pure is just a rampant misunderstanding of the way the products work and the way product approvals work. Now, there is always going to be a little bit of leeway in what is allowed to be 100% pure. Because there's always going to be, especially when it comes to cleaning products and it comes to cosmetics and all of those little things that are put out in the market, they're often put out in the market with a large percentage of their product to be proprietary. Because they're labeled as proprietary, they don't have to disclose those ingredients. So you don't know what's in them. So we can throw this whole percentage thing out the window because it doesn't really make any sense. But in actuality, a certain percentage of cosmetic products and cleaning products can be impure. They can be kind of left up to the manufacturer because they can hide a lot under that whole idea of something being proprietary. If a government organization would ever fall into, forget even 5%, if they would even allow themselves to be in the 50% range, they would lose any and all credibility in the marketplace. So to even make this statement, it really, to me, it shows in big glowing neon letters that you have a representative for an oil company that hasn't done any true research into the law. That they're just spouting what somebody else told them, and then what somebody told them, and somebody told them, and ultimately nobody ever did any fact checking. Essential oils are the most powerful living substances on Earth. They're the life's blood of the plant, and they represent in plants what blood represents in humans. What essential oils truly are in regards to plants is they're an attractant. So they help attract friendly insects to help propagate the species. They're a deterrent. Some essential oils will actually deter the harmful insects. They'll act as a defense mechanism to keep harmful insects or even other plants from encroaching on where they're growing. They could be an attractant to help attract other plants to an area to help feed the soil. So there's a lot of things that essential oils are for plants. But they're not the life's blood. That would basically be saying that, let's see, aloe vera gel is an essential oil, that tree sap is an essential oil, pretty much across the board. And the other part of this that gets me is the fact that they are, it says here, and I actually made it bold, that they're living substances. There is nothing that's going to survive and continue living after being steam distilled for a few hours. There's nothing that's going to survive that and still remain to be living. All the plant material is dead the second that plant material is removed from the roots, removed from the ground. So living, the living part is kind of maddening on this. The best quality essential oils only come from the first pressing or the first distillation of plant material. I still see people that kind of live on this, and there's one particular company that likes to talk about this a lot. Truth behind this myth: every essential oil is the first pressing. Period. End of story. There are two exceptions that I'll tell you in a moment. But if you take hundreds of pounds of lavender plant and you put them into a massive steam kettle and you set the fire and the heat going and you start that steam distillation process to start getting the oil out of the plants, and you let that run for 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever the case may be. When you take that plant material out of that kettle, there's no oil left. You have completely rendered all of that plant material to be void of any beneficial properties, of any essential oil. What farmer in their right mind would then say, hey, let's fire up the boiler a second time, spend a whole lot of money on fuel, on manpower, waste another 4, 6, 8 hours of time to get another kilogram of waste product out of the plant? Any farmer worth their weight in processing these materials already knows the best temperature and the optimum time to process the material. So they do that once and they're done, because it's not going to do them any benefit to do a second pressing or second distillation. Here's the two violations to this rule. Number one is peppermint. Peppermint tends to have a great deal of oil that comes from the plant. The first pressing of your peppermint product, of your peppermint leaves, is going to give you the highest quality, purest, therapeutic essential oils. When peppermint is then distilled a second or third time, it is often then sold to your food companies or to your cosmetics companies, because you're not getting the full spectrum of therapeutic benefit. It's significantly cheaper the second or third time through, so it goes to your food companies or it goes to the cosmetics industry. And then lastly, it's Lang Lang. Lang Lang has 4 different types of distillations. It can be done in short increments, and you can break down 3 different components of Lang Lang, or you can get Lang Lang complete, which is the full long-term distillation, the highest quality essential oil. Those are the only 2 violations to that first pressing myth. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of that series of myths. I know Dana has 1 or 2 more. Let's see if we've got any questions that I have not answered. Let's see. Yes, Jen does still put oils on the soles of her feet. I know that. It's hard to break free of that when it's actually one of the first things we were taught. And it still continues to be talked about. Let's see. Hey, this is surprising. No questions. All right, guys. So hit me up. Go ahead and throw some questions at me if you have them. Same thing, Jay, Carrie, Dwayne. You guys are more than welcome to throw questions at me. Comments. If you think I'm just full of it, I'm good with that too.
Well, I've got a comment on when you was talking about early oils. Take some of the cultures like the Egyptians, that even though that was a couple thousand years ago, they were pretty advanced. They even had brain surgeons. So when you talk about frankincense and myrrh, 2 essential oils that come from resins, I've never actually held any of that in my hands, but I have seen other resinous products here in North America, and it's pretty concentrated. It's not the same as an essential oil, but it's concentrated enough it can actually irritate your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of...
And what they used to do with those, I mean, when you go back and you look at, biblical times, and you talk about frankincense and myrrh, what was often traded was the resin itself, similar to amber in its raw state, and it was traded as a medicinal product. And what you would have happen with that, and yeah, Jen is right, we do have some pure frankincense powder that we bought from Dr. Pappas. What they would do is they would break off a piece of that resin, and using a mortar and pestle, they would grind it into a fine powder, and then they would add animal fats to that, and they would create a tincture or a salve with the animal fats and the frankincense and the myrrh powder. And they would, yes, it was highly concentrated, and they could alter the concentration level as they saw fit.
Okay, that's good. And I also wanted to make a comment. Just this week, I watched Dr. Hill for one of the many Facebook pages. It was about a 15-minute video, and he was talking about the dilution process on this kit on all the oils and how they were just as effective. And it was very good.
They
I recommend
are.
anybody.
Yep. I tell that to people all the time, that the word dilute is hard. Go ahead, Wayne.
Some oils are expensive, like frankincense. I figure it works just as good for what I use it for. So
exactly. And what I say, and I've said this since we've started, is the word dilute, when you talk about your essential oils, it's kind of a misnomer. So when you tell somebody to dilute their oils, it is technically correct. If you put 10 drops of an essential oil into a 10 milliliter roller bottle, and you fill the rest of the way with a carrier oil like coconut oil, you have, by definition, diluted the amount of oil in that bottle. A 10 milliliter bottle with 10 drops is a 5% dilution. Even that is considered a heavy dilution rate. But you have not diluted the effectiveness of that oil. In fact, you've actually enhanced the effectiveness of the oil because you've made the oil molecules bigger. They don't escape into the air as readily around you, so more of the oil will actually get absorbed into your skin and therefore into the bloodstream, because they'll rest on the skin longer than they would if you just applied the oil directly right out of the bottle.
That was a weird pause. Another thing on the sensitization, well, I was having trouble getting that out, sorry. Because I'm always like harping on some of my friends and family who just, they don't dilute, or they don't dilute often or enough. And, I try to explain to them, that it's not making it less effective, and it's actually making it probably more effective because the oils aren't evaporating. But one of the things that people don't understand is, you can develop a sensitization to oils, and it doesn't have to be your first time of using it. I mean, it can happen after using that same oil for days, weeks, months, years, and it's irreversible. If you develop a sensitization to an oil, it's not like you can stop using it for a couple of weeks and go back and and try to reintroduce it. I mean, your body sticks with that. So it's really just a good advice to always dilute.
It's also good money saving advice. You look at a bottle of oil like frankincense, right? A 15 milliliter bottle of frankincense costs about $70 wholesale. That's doTERRA's price. Sorry if I've got independents or I've got Young Living reps that are watching this replay, but on the doTERRA side, a 15 ml bottle will cost you about $70. So if I told you that you could put 10 drops of oil into a roller bottle, fill it the rest of the way with coconut oil, and you could take that same $70 bottle and you could create 25 roller bottles from it, you would look at me like, I don't ever need to buy frankincense again. And that's just at a 5% dilution. The average person needs a dilution ratio of about 2 to 3% for an average thing that you may be trying to work on or use your oils for. Anything above 5% is considered a short-term acute condition that you shouldn't necessarily go for anything above 5% unless you really have something that you're using for short term to really combat something. If you are using your oils on pets or you're using your oils on kids, you should really be in the 1 to 2% range of your dilution. So imagine how many bottles of frankincense you could get at a 1% or a 2% dilution rate. It's crazy how much money that could ultimately save you. But of course, it also means you won't be ordering as frequently. And people who have a monetary tie to you making increased and often purchases are not necessarily going to be as accepting of this information. So, Jay, Carrie, even Dana, you guys have any other questions as far as the myths go? Any myths of your own that I didn't cover? Jen, any myths of your own that I didn't cover that you guys want some answers to?
Now I know what some of the myths are so that I can discount them when I run into them.
Yep, and you will. You'll see them. The more time you spend online researching oils or navigating through some of the essential oil pages on Facebook, you'll start to see some of those pop up now. I will warn you, don't get into arguments with people on Facebook over, when somebody says something and it's a myth and now you know the truth it's not worth getting into a pissing contest with somebody over it. You're not going to, just like politics, you're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change yours. So for the sake of sanity, just walk away, shake your head, and say, I know better.
I don't argue, so I'm good there.
Hey, Jay.
I'd say one of the myths that I've heard people mention before is that an essential oil contains the same vitamins, minerals, and hormones that the actual plant does, which is not true.
No. In fact, it's one of the things that I talk about when I talk about the internal use, especially of citrus oils. People are always and forever talking about putting citrus oils in their water. And they talk about, oh, I'm getting the vitamins and nutrients of fresh lemon by putting a couple of drops of lemon in my water. And I'm sorry, but that's just false. There's no vitamins and no nutrients in the pulp or in the skin of a lemon. The vitamins and nutrients come from the pulp. They come from the inner part of the lemon. They don't come from the rind and the pith. And in order to get your lemon, or for the sake of Jay, wild orange, oils.
I came in just in time.
Yes. Yes, I said pith. I didn't have a lip. I said pith. But in order to get your citrus oils, those oils are cold pressed. So similar to when you think about the old style juicing machine where you would slice a lemon or an orange in half and you would set it on a steel juicer and you would pull that handle down towards you. Think of that on an extreme level where you have a massive hydraulic press that's just squeezing down on the rind of a lemon or the rind of an orange. That's where the oils come from. But there's no vitamins in that. There's no minerals in that. And actually, there's no flavor in that. You're basically using the rind of a lemon or the rind of a lime or the rind of an orange in your water. It's not as tasty as the juice. If you want the vitamins and the minerals and the flavor, infuse your water with fresh fruit. Juice your lemons, juice your limes, put that in your water. You'll get the flavor and the benefit.
Since we're on lemons, I got a question for
All right.
you. If I got a sore throat, scratchy throat, or a cold coming on, I typically use lemon, fresh squeezed lemon, about a half a teaspoon of ginger, and honey. It works great. Usually less than a day. Out. Now, I have not tried ginger essential oil and lemon essential oil. So maybe you have.
I still personally am not a fan of taking your essential oils directly into the mouth. You've got a lot of soft tissue that you could have a quick sensitivity to. You could burn the mucous membranes in your mouth, in your throat, in your esophagus, because the oils are just going to rest on the top of the water. You will still be infinitely better off using fresh fruit because part of what's giving you the benefit is also the vitamin C. You're also getting, when it comes to a sore throat, you're getting the benefit of the sugar in that lemon. You're getting the benefit, or if a pineapple is one of the best, and I know you, Dwayne, eat pineapple almost every day. Fresh pineapple is going to be one of the best things for you in regards to a sore throat. Mm-hmm. You're coating your throat with the sugar from that fresh pineapple, so it helps to provide a bit of a protective coating. The enzymes that are in the fresh pineapple will also help boost your immune system and help you fight off some of the inflammation as well.
No, I will sometimes use, Dwayne, I will use essential oils for like a sore throat taken internally, but I don't mix it with water. I mix it with like Manuka honey or like a raw local honey, kind of mix it in together so it's not just the straight oil going down like my throat, that's more of a chance for a burning?
Tried that. I'll have to give it a try.
I just like having a spoonful of honey. I mean, let's be truthful here.
You throw the pineapple core in your smoothies, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
Have you cut it yet and just eat them? What I started doing is I take the core of the pineapple and I slice it thinly into coins.
Ah.
And that way it makes it easier to eat because you're able to cut it into small thin coins, and you're not like gnawing on that whole big core that's impossible to cut through. But if you cut it into thin coins, it makes it easier to chew and digest.
Oh, okay. I don't eat it like that. I just throw it right in the Vitamixer with everything else. So.
Yep.
Yep. And if I could add the raw local honey, I haven't had seasonal allergies in 3 years.
Yep. It works wonders.
Very bad, extreme bad allergies.
All right, Jay and Carrie, I know you guys are still muted. If you guys want to unmute yourself, if either one of you guys have any questions in regards to myths, or at this point anything in regards to essential oils, let me go ahead and close out the recording, and then we'll open it up for open questions. One time, real quick, I just want to thank everybody who's watching this on replay. If you've stuck it out this long, big thumbs up from me. Remember, Dana and I do this every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Just go to the Summers Wellness page on Facebook or the Essential Oils Education page on Facebook, and you can always find the event there. The Essential Oils Education page is completely brand neutral. We always post information on there to help you understand how to use your essential oils safely and effectively without pushing a sales agenda. We really want it to be an education-based page, so that's what we focus that on. And we do the same thing here with the weekly classes. Invite your friends, invite your family, hand your laptop to a stranger, whatever you want to do, just bring some more people on, because the more people we get in here, the more we all learn. So thank you guys so much for being here. We'll see you next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. As always, thank you guys so much for being here. Have a great night.